Thank you. Good afternoon. Welcome to Rowe Middle School. Before we begin our ceremony today, I am asking everyone to please take a second and silence your cell phone or any technology device to avoid any distractions. At this time, please rise for the invocation given by Dr. John Ogletree.
Let us pray. Dear God, we thank you first for this educational facility. Thank you, God, for the students that it will serve, those that will be educated, those who a seed of greatness will be planted in. And we thank you, God, on this day for the namesake, the honoree, this great man who served this district so well, Harold Rowe. We thank you for the lives he touched. We thank you for the legacy he leaves of service, of strong relationships, of dedication. And we ask that this school return the honor by doing everything they can to give opportunity to every student. Bless this time of dedication. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Dr. John Ogletree. Welcome again to all of our guests that have gathered today to celebrate the official dedication of Rowe Middle School. To begin our dedication ceremony, I would like to introduce you to several special guests that are seated on the stage with me this afternoon. First, the person we are celebrating today, the namesake of Rowe Middle School, Mr. Harold Rowe. We have board member trustee, Dr. John Ogletree. Our guest speaker today, Ms. Becky Cook. We have our other amazing board members with us today as well, Mr. Don Ryan, Vice President. Ms. Debbie Blackshear, Secretary. Mr. Tom Jackson, Trustee. And Ms. Marnie Collins-Sims, our General Counsel. We do have a few other special guests with us here today. Your greeters and your future tour guides for this afternoon at the reception are none other than the spectacular administrative team of Rowe Middle School. If you would please stand. Thank you. At this time, I would like to turn the program over to Ms. Marnie Collins-Sims.
Thank you so much, Stacia. Welcome, and I am so proud to be here. You may have noticed in your program it says Dr. Henry, and I am not Dr. Henry. He is under the weather, and so he asked me to step in. I jokingly told Harold that we arm wrestled the cabinet, and that I won, but actually, truth be told, I am the longest tenured cabinet member, and when I think about with whom I started, every single person on that cabinet is now a namesake. And Harold, the most recent. And so I'm so proud and privileged to think in 16 years where this district has come, and I am excited to be here and to help usher in this program. Will all the former board members and former superintendents please stand? I would like to recognize you. I know Mr. Barry, yes, I knew Mr. Barry was here, and Dr. Anthony. And then, of course, Darcy Mingoya. And did everybody? And actually, I will also say that I saw in the audience, while not a former superintendent, I did see H.D. Chambers here, who is the current superintendent in A-Leaf ISD. I know you're hiding somewhere, H.D. There he is. So, thank you. And next, I would like to ask all of our namesakes to please stand. I will tell you, I tried to highlight to make sure I caught everyone, but I'm just going to ask you to stand so that I can recognize you. I know I saw, yes, David Anthony, Cheryl Salyards. Oh, there's my Maybelline from the Carpenter Center. I know I saw you, Leonard. And I know I saw Sadie, but I didn't see you stand. Oh, there's my sweet Sadie. You're so short, I didn't see you. Thank you all. It's a blessing and a privilege to have each of you here with us. Rowe Middle School, which opened in September to 1,178 students, 750 remote, and 428 face-to-face, is located adjacent to Cypress Park High School and the West Green Transportation Center at FM 529 and West Green Boulevard. Rowe is our 19th middle school campus, serving 6th through 8th grade students. Rowe was designed by PBK Architects and built by Satterfield and Ponticus. The single-story, 291,268 square feet facility sits on a 131-acre site and was designed to be the first true educational village to allow for collaboration between Cy Park and Rowe. This concept creates a structure where students enter high school knowing the expectation and the learning patterns already in place, thus ensuring higher academic success at graduation. Rowe is designed with multiple flex spaces for interactive learning. It was also designed to be a technology-driven campus with an environmental teaching tool with open viewing windows to the mechanical, electrical, and technology distribution systems. And I remember when PBK first introduced this concept to us when this was just vacant land, and it is amazing to see this educational village in fruition. The campus is full of learning opportunities that include a phenomenal library, group instructional spaces located on each floor, state-of-the-art learning stairs, and several collaborative spaces which each allows teachers and students to work together to enhance the learning experience. A rainwater collection cistern system has been installed in the outside courtyard, along with other teaching opportunities that were built into the design of this external courtyard, creating an outdoor learning environment for our students and staff. And I know that our tour guides are going to be excited to point out all of those features to you and more. But talking about this beautiful building would be remiss if I didn't actually ask Dan and his team, the representatives from PBK Architects, to please stand and let us recognize you. I know I saw Dan, we walked in together, and Brandon Ross and Eric Smith. I know I saw you guys. There you are, okay. And Sarah Stolting, I see you, and Jorge. Yes. And I understand there are other PBK guests with us, so if you didn't give up your seat and you're not standing already, go ahead and stand or wave, because we'd like to acknowledge everyone from PBK. Thank you. And we really appreciate you joining us here today. I would also like to recognize George Ponticus, CEO of Satterfield and Ponticus, and the entire Satterfield and Ponticus team. Would you please stand? Thank you so much for being here. And I will say I have known George for 20 years. I knew George when I was an outside counsel, and I have to say we probably had the best team in K through 12 public ed, architecture, and construction on this project. Thank you. I would also like to introduce Dan Gross, the Director of Design and Facilities Planning, Shannon Thompson, Director of Technology Services, Director of Technical Services. I'm sorry, Becky, I may have added someone to your staff accidentally. Jody Doble, Director of Project Management, and Jesse Claiborne, Director of Construction Services. If you all would please stand, I would like to acknowledge you. They are the home team that brought this home. Thank you so much for being here and helping us get this building into the beautiful space it is today. There are two more CFISD employees that I would like to introduce. These men were crucial in making sure the building was finished and ready for staff and students on time. And of course, it's our Roy Sprague and Matt Morgan. I would like you to both stand and be acknowledged. You two and all of your team, You make everything happen in this district, and we appreciate you. Now, the main reason that we are here today, it gives me great pleasure to participate in dedicating a school in honor of an administrator like Harold Rowe. Harold is the consummate professional. He's smart, innovative, and industrious, but most of all, he is a good human being. To know Harold is to know what customer service should be. Thank you for your support and loyalty to CFISD, and I will have to tell you that the nickname Mr. Customer Service is one that he earned through blood, sweat, and tears in this district. And I remember when Harold retired and something happened to my computer, and I had a relatively new secretary, and I said, I need to log in or something. And she said, well, you can call the help desk. And I said, I didn't know we had a help desk. And she said, well, what did you do? And I said, I would call Harold, and he would come and change my password. And so it's sort of like calling the, Secretary of the Treasury to help you with your taxes. But that's the type of man that Harold Rowe is. And so without further ado, I give you Harold Rowe. Now, I will just say that this is why I'm the B team. So apparently we're doing a video to honor Harold Rowe, and Miss Carew is going to... Now I'm just going to turn the program back over to Stacia, and I'm going to hope that we have editing on the video.
Thank you, Marnie. We are now delighted to welcome and introduce a couple of performances for you, marking the first musical performance at Rowe Middle School. The fine arts are an important part of our community and school, and we are proud of our students and staff for continuing to make music safely. Please help me welcome several members of the Rowe and Cy Park Choir under the direction of Emily Premont, Brittany Faircloth, Christopher Rodriguez, and Cammie Estelle, singing the Star-Spangled Banner. Please rise for the singing of our national anthem.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Excellent job, choir. Especially thanks to those remote learners that have joined us today to perform as well. Next, we have a duet featuring our Rowe Orchestra Director, Miss Amani Henry, and 7th grade student, Mr. Jake Ogden. Thank you. Last but certainly not least, we would like to introduce 3 8th graders from Rowe Band to the stage: Jeter Dawson, Dion George, and Sincere Pollard. These Jaguars will perform America the Beautiful.
2 and 3 and
If we could congratulate again our Rowe Jags and our Cy Park Tigers for a job well done with entertainment. Also want to thank our students and teachers that were here today to make that entertainment happen on Harold's special day. Now please join me in welcoming Becky Cook, who would like to share a few words about the namesake Harold Rowe.
Can y'all see me? Just kidding. Just kidding. Well, good afternoon. On September the 7th, 2020, several people in this room received the following email. Subject: Rowe dedication, last team task. To all, I hope you are all well. For those of you still working, thank you so much for what you are doing for students and teachers in this most challenging situation. Your efforts are nothing short of miraculous. I'm writing you to ask that a team member, when I retired, speak at the school dedication. I have deep affection for each of you, and if I could, I would ask all of you to speak. But alas, I can only have one speak. Dr. Henry Marnie will also be making remarks. The task I am asking assistance in is for you to decide who would speak. I appreciate your help this one last time. Wishing you all the best, Harold. True to form, Harold never showed favoritism with his team. I stand before you today as the one who will be the narrator of a compilation of comments, stories, and memories from his closest coworkers and team members. Let's start with relationships. Harold was and is a master at building and keeping relationships. In talking with Rick Terrell and Tony Barcelona, they shared with me that they always felt appreciated and supported because he let them do their jobs and he respected them. Rick also mentioned that Harold always took the time to send him a personalized birthday card, and he did this for all his team members. While that may seem like a little small thing to do, it really meant the world to each of us to receive a personalized birthday card from the boss. Pam Wells said this: Harold had such a positive personal impact on those of us fortunate enough to work closely with him because of his kindness, compassion, and spirit of humility. Harold always thought of others, like leaving yellow sticky notes with words of encouragement in his drawer at the seat at the boardroom table for his successor, Roy Sprague. When we went to various conferences such as TCEA and ISD, Harold was always ready to spend time with the team, building relationships and getting to know us. Singing karaoke with Nancy Lee, Tiny Dancer, and going to Esther's Follies, Harold was one of us, and we absolutely loved it. But one of the most unlikely relationships was shared with me by Dr. Anthony. It goes like this. One of the funniest relationships Harold was part of was his lunch trips with John Firquin. They identified the cheapest, maybe worst, Mexican food restaurant and were the most loyal customers. It paired Mr. Extrovert, Harold, with Mr. Introvert with an exceptionally dry wit, John Firquin. It worked, but it resulted in other invited guests only going one time. The place was very dark and the food was marginal, but they were in hog heaven because it was really, 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 really cheap. Moving on, let's talk about Harold the Visionary. Harold, during his time in CFISD, started many programs that are still in use today. I'm just going to cover a couple of the many programs he started. Harold was responsible for starting Bus Buddies. For those of you who don't know about Bus Buddies, the program uses volunteers to ride elementary buses to help students get on and off at the correct stop. Harold implemented this program, and it was a huge success. Instructional technology grew under his leadership. During his time as the fearless leader of the Tech Services Department, he spearheaded the U.S. History 1-to-1 project, which allowed every 11th grader to receive a Windows laptop loaded with industry-level software. This program was designed to give 11th grade students an opportunity to experience an online learning environment through the U.S. History course. Now, let's talk about Harold the leader teacher. Harold was always making sure that his team was in a constant state of learning. Let me share with you how he grew us at every team meeting. Like any great teacher leader, Harold would work to increase the vocabulary of his team. At each meeting, Harold would throw out a new word that we may or may not have known, and we, using context clues, would try to figure it out. You could glance around the room and see the team writing the new word down, usually phonetically, to look up later to see if A, it really was a word, and B, what did it mean? Some of our favorites are segue, fiduciary, and form factor, but there were so many more. We all secretly thought that he read the dictionary every day and picked a new word to use as many times as possible throughout the day. Also, during team meetings, Harold taught us about figurative language. We have dubbed these sayings as Haroldisms. Some of our favorite are, that's low-hanging fruit. We need to look at the cash. You have to say it that way, the cash. We need to take a belt and suspenders approach on this project. All pigs are not created equal. I'm not going to die in that ditch. That's chump change. And our all-time favorite, that dog won't hunt. There was often a meeting after the meeting to interpret the Haroldisms of the day. And finally, always the teacher, Harold, would do the math in his head. It didn't matter what we were discussing. If it had to do with money, he was doing the math in his head while we were trying desperately to keep up with him with our calculators. He won. Always. And he was always right. He always equated cash to how many teachers we could fund. For example, if something was about $200,000, well, that would equal about 4 teachers. We learned to gauge if we were pleasing our leader with our behavior and responses by the frequency of his leg bouncing. If he was pleased, his leg bounced rather slowly. If not, well, let's just say that it was a blur, and we learned to become very adept at leg reading. Finally, let's talk about Mr. Customer Service. If you were part of his team, you heard this from Harold. It's always about the customer. Mr. Berry said that one of Harold's biggest strengths was customer service. It was always at the forefront of everything he did. He always knew how to find out what the needs of the customers were, and then he found a way to make it happen. Didn't matter what they needed, equipment, training, support, whatever. Mr. Berry also shared with me that as a superintendent, one of his biggest dreams was to see administrative and instructional technology become integrated so that data drove decisions. So he talked to Harold about his vision, and Harold understood it, and he made it happen. Joan Postma shared the following story. There was a time when the network went down, and Joan had no idea how to fix it. Fortunately, Harold had bought 24/7 technical support. Joan called the company and was able to give remote access to them so they could fix the network. When Joan told Harold all was well, he asked her how she did it. She replied that he did it by buying technical support for her, which that day was priceless. Dr. Henry shared the following: technology is not my strength. Thankfully, Harold Rowe was in Cypress-Fairbanks ISD. Whether it's setting up my computer or setting up my phone, Harold was always able to help me. The thing about Harold is that his care for others went way beyond his professional duties. He was ready, willing, and able to help anyone who needed assistance in a personal matter. Now, get ready. H.D. Chambers shared this one with me. The build-up to the end of the world, Y2K, was stressful on Harold and his technology team. Mass confusion, computer systems resetting to 1900, lights going off forever. Just total anarchy in the streets of Cypress-Fairbanks ISD. Our fearless technology leader, Harold, was preparing to lay out the Cypress-Fairbanks ISD Y2K plan that will save lives, buildings, and all things dear to us during a principals meeting in the fall of 1999. The boardroom was full of excitement, nervousness, and anticipation to the holy grail of Y2K plans. It was Moses coming down off Mount Sinai to deliver the word to us all. The room goes quiet. The overhead projector is turned on, and Harold turns to the crowd to speak. And, if I'm lying, I'm dying, the entire ISC building loses power. It is pitch black in the boardroom, and you could hear a pin drop. Then we could hear Mr. Barry's voice say, "What the heck just happened?" Then we hear Harold's voice mildly say, "Well, dang, that ain't good." We all busted out laughing because the timing of this could not have been any better if we'd planned it. To this day, Harold still thinks it was conspiracy by some of his more childish pranksters that he worked with, but I have it on good solid word that the power failure was not human created, and Harold did deliver on his promise. The district was up and running on January 1st, 2000. In closing, I want to share a quote that was given to me by Harold's girl Friday, his right-hand woman, and dear friend Vicki Zychek. She sent this to me and said that she believed that this says it all about Harold. I think you'll agree. A quote by Burgess Owens. "I believe that my worth is not measured by what I do, by the honors that are bestowed upon me, or by material wealth that I may obtain. Instead, I am measured by the courage I show while standing for my beliefs, by the dedication I exhibit to ensure my word is good, and the resolve I undertake to establish my actions and deeds as honorable. Harold, I think I can speak for us all. You made a difference every single day that you worked in CFISD. You impacted the lives of thousands of students, teachers, staff, and each of us. Your work did not go unnoticed. Congratulations on this well-deserved honor."
Thank you, Becky. Don't really want to follow that, but at this time, we do have a video for everyone to see, so please direct your attention to the monitors as a short video has been produced to capture the essence of our namesake in the beginning of Rowe Middle School for the students and staff who will learn here and work here for many years to come. This video will become a permanent part of our history of the school and will be available for students, parents, and staff to view. Please join me in watching the video tribute to Harold Rowe Middle School.
Seeing the name on the building for the first time is sort of something where you have to step back for a second and say, well, wow, you know, it really is happening. What a beautiful place for students to learn. Teachers and administrators are here to make that happen for them. That's their whole focus, is those children. And their job is to learn, to respect it, to respect the effort of their teachers, all the people that care about them greatly. Their piece is to work hard, have fun, but work hard.
In everything that Harold Rowe did, he was the ultimate customer relations person.
He's really like one of those Renaissance men. He would stand on his head if he had to in order to get something done.
Everybody liked Harold. I don't know anybody that didn't like Harold, and he's kind of like Will Rogers. He never met a man he didn't like.
I took an indirect way to get into the school business. I was in information technology all my career and spent the first half of my career literally in technology development and management. Fortunately for me, the Cypress-Fairbanks ISD opportunity became available, and so I started in information services.
Early on in my dealings with him, I realized that my usual skepticism about somebody from the business world coming into a school district was unfounded with him, because he easily integrated into the district. He just had the right heart for being in a school district.
My first, second year, trying to transition the district into this new world of personal computing, because it wasn't long after that. You can jump from personal computers on everyone's desk, including kids, to the internet and networking, which opened up the world to everyone. So it was just a wonderful time to be involved in technology.
I'm so thankful Don Thornton hired him because he was not only a wonderful professional who knew his business, but he was just a wonderful person.
Mr. Berry did have a vision for things that he wanted to see the district accomplish, and it took us some time, but I think we got there.
Harold was really good at keeping up with the technology. He was always on the cutting edge of knowing what was going on and what the capabilities were.
We knew on the new campuses they were going to have the latest in technology. They were going to have the electrical capacity and the connectivity capacity required to serve all the students they were going to have. The internet came in and we had campuses that were 50 years old, 40 years old, 30 years old. That long-range plan always had fit, retrofit, upkeep, maintenance.
He was really good at allocating resources in a way that met the goals that we had, and also good at explaining it to everybody else. Because I didn't understand. It's like speaking Greek to me when you start talking technology back in those days.
There had to be lots and lots of training, and Harold was the perfect person to help smooth people's way through that, because he's got such a nice and easy manner.
Harold was a very versatile individual. At the employee service banquet and VIPS luncheon every year, several of us in the administration entertained, if you call it that, entertained. It was a lot of lip syncing, but there was dancing as well. And Harold was a very active and enthusiastic participant in that. He liked to have fun.
You know, that's when he stepped out into the spotlight a little bit. We all had guitars. Harold got into it. I think he even tried to learn a few chords so it could look more realistic. But he enjoyed that because it was not about anything but having fun.
What I think Cy-Fair does the best is, from staff to student, is there's a wonderful embrace of community, learning communities, professional colleague communities supporting each other. And that spirit ranges from every school throughout the district and every department.
His responsibilities grew.
And now Harold said he had technology tires and toilets because he was over technology, transportation, and custodial staff.
When I heard that he was going to be responsible for all of those things, I thought, oh my Lord, how can he do that? I mean, really, how does he have the knowledge for all of those things?
Most importantly to me is always about the people, and trying to learn the people that actually do the work, respect their work, and be their advocate. Because to me it's critical that employees, teachers, the people that do the job are the most important people. And so if you can relate to them, understand their needs, and challenge them, right, to meet the goals, which are the kids, it will be successful, and I think we ultimately were.
Imagine taking over the responsibility for transportation department with more buses than Trailways and Greyhound had combined in the state of Texas. And you've never worked in that area. That's an example of how he was able to take on bigger challenges and be successful at it. And he had a good team out there too. You know, it's a combination of the team that gets it done, and it takes a leader to make that happen.
He was a tremendous resource because he broke down barriers and built partnerships, built teamwork.
A hard worker, whatever job he is given, he throws himself into it and does it extremely well. He was constant.
Harold, I'm so proud and honored that I got to work with you during, I think, most of your career in the Cypress-Fairbanks School District, and the accomplishments that you were able to help the district achieve. And most of all, the fact that you focused on the kids and on customer service for everybody in the district that was serving the kids. I'm pleased as I can be that the board and superintendent had the wisdom to name a school after you, and I hope you enjoy it every day the rest of your life.
Congratulations, Harold. I am so excited for you and so excited for the school district and especially for those kids and the staff at Harold Rowe Middle School. You are a wonderful recipient. You absolutely deserve this. I know you won't think that, but you do. And I appreciate all of the time that you and I work together, and am hopeful of coming out here after this day of dedication to visit with you and go through some classrooms with you. Congratulations.
Harold, I couldn't be more pleased to know that your name is going to be on a middle school in Cypress-Fairbanks ISD. It'd be a high aspiration for me to see the students of Harold Rowe Middle School have the characteristics that you displayed the 7 years that I was in Cy-Fair. You're a remarkable man, accomplished a great deal. Work on your golf.
I think we can do that again. Roy, if you want to join me. As the inaugural principal of Harold Rowe Middle School, I believe one of the greatest blessings is every day working to honor the work Mr. Rowe did for our district. We work daily to implement the standards of excellence for our Jaguar staff and students to exemplify what you were known for. Harold is the most professional, well-dressed, intelligent, caring human I have ever met. It is an honor for me to open Middle School 19, but even a bigger honor to open and lead a school with your name on it. I'd like to present you with this gift as a small token of congrats on a well-deserved honor from your faculty and students at Harold Rowe Middle School, and hopefully it'll improve your game of golf.
Harold, on behalf of the entire project team, which consisted of PBK Architects, the Cy-Fair Facilities Department, as well as Satterfield and Ponticus, we'd like to present you with a photograph of the completed project.
At this time, I'm going to turn the program over to Mr. Don Ryan for the proclamation.
I think to improve Harold's game of golf, y'all should have given him a tennis racket. Obviously, I'm not Bob Covey. Like Mark, Bob was exposed to the plague and is in quarantine for 14 days. So if you'd pray for those two. One of the greatest honors and privileges of being on the board is getting to name a namesake. It's just awesome to see their expression, to know how worthy they are. And Harold, you're at the top of the list. You're just such an awesome gentleman. And I got to thinking about when we were in the board meetings, and Harold's giving these technology, I mean, the big agenda item and going through everything. And I'm sitting up there, and I'm next to Dr. Anthony. And, I can feel my eyes glazing over on this deal. And Harold is just so proud. And he's just, so knowledgeable. And David kind of leans in, and he says, hey, you know what Harold's talking about? And I said, no, I don't. I said, but I think we're getting some more mega glicks, and we're getting some new wires. And I said, just do like Dr. Ogletree and nod your head. And it worked. I mean, we got Board of the Year, I think, shortly thereafter. It's unbelievable, unbelievable. So thank you, Harold. We really appreciate you. I do have to tell you, it is an honor. I'm sorry Bob couldn't be here, but it really is an honor to read your proclamation, so thank you. Proclamation, dedication of Harold Rowe Middle School, November 8th, 2020. Whereas Harold Rowe served the Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District as a loyal, dedicated administrator for 32 years. Whereas he provided visionary leadership while overseeing CFISD's 3 T's: technology, transportation, and toilets. Whereas he earned state and national awards recognizing his leadership and advocacy of instructional technology. Whereas he implemented numerous bond programs that included software systems, fiber optics, networking, the district website, email, CFTV Channel 16, and deployment of substantial instructional technology for students, including the first one-to-one laptop program for high school U.S. history students. Whereas Harold made subordinates feel like they worked with him and not for him. Whereas he worked alongside his team during large-scale upgrades and projects, staying as long or as late as needed until tasks were complete. Whereas Harold drew the instant respect of not only his peers in CFISD, but of his peers in other districts throughout the state and nation, mentoring many new chief technology officers in other districts. Whereas he gained a reputation for being both a gentleman and a gentleman, known for his exceptional manners and impeccable attire. Whereas he amused those around him with noted Haroldisms, while expressing himself with eloquence and intelligence, communicating with impeccable polysyllabic articulation. I'm gonna have to Google that word, Harold. I don't mind telling you. I was practicing it and everything, man. That's a tough one. Whereas Harold was characterized by preparation, loyalty, trustworthiness, kindness, friendliness, courtesy, punctuality, and thriftiness. Whereas he prioritized customer service, placing others before himself while avoiding the spotlight. Now, therefore be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District that the school located at 7611 West Green Boulevard in Cypress, Texas, is hereby named Harold Rowe Middle School. This is such an honor, brother. Seriously.
I think, Mr. Rowe, don't go too far. Ladies and gentlemen, please once again welcome Mr. Harold Rowe.
Thank you. Oh, y'all. Oh. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Mask off. Wow. Good afternoon, and thank you all. I want to reflect quickly and appreciate again the work of the students that we saw today. It starts with them, and it's all about them. So one more time for the students that we saw. So I need a few minutes to recover from everything I've heard and seen, so y'all bear with me just a little bit here. Thank you all for coming today. You could practice this speech. I have a bunch of times in front of the mirror, patio, but you can't practice it after seeing the video or after seeing your faces in the audience. So as I speak, bear with me because I see a recollection, a pleasant memory, a friendship that I didn't see you when I was practicing, so I appreciate you all. Thank you all for coming today. I want to thank Ms. Carew and her team for hosting this dedication. They've done a magnificent job. She opened the school, stress. Now she has the dedication, double stress. They've done a spectacular job. And I want to thank all the departments, Teresa Hall and her teams led by Beth Wade, Leslie Francis and her team, including Mitzi Lara, John Taylor, and Joel Weckerly, all responsible for the videos. And especially to Nina Flores, Teresa's assistant, who's done and provided invaluable assistance to me throughout the whole process. I know it's taken significant effort, Ms. Carew, and to all of you to do this, but all the while, you are still making sure that the students remain the main thing. They are the main thing. And also, just for a moment, amidst this pandemic, I would like to take a moment to recognize and express profound appreciation for the outstanding effort being made to educate children by teachers, administrators, and staff of the school, by Dr. Henry and the district administration and staff, and importantly, by the Board of Trustees. This is the most unprecedented of times, and all of you have done and continue to do an incredible job. I thank you. Please join me. It's been over a year, since the board named this school, and I'm still in a state of disbelief that this has happened and is happening. Isn't this an amazing place, as you will learn later today as you tour this school? From design through construction to choosing leadership and staffing, this is one continuum of excellence. It's just beautiful. And if you haven't had a chance to tour the school, please do so after we conclude this portion of the dedication. I want to express my appreciation, in addition to what's been mentioned earlier, to the design and construction team, Bobby Galvin from the district, Sarah Stolting and Brandon Ross from PBK Architects, and Karen Beveridge from the builder, Satterfield and Ponticus. Very well done. Just a beautiful facility. And thanks to all the departments who provided the furniture, the technology, the cleaning, the food service, all the things so critical to opening a school. It takes a huge village. To our board, I again express my deepest gratitude for this honor. It's simply beyond any of my imaginings ever. I am, as no doubt are all namesakes, so appreciative and humbled. Having one's name on a building, especially a school building, is exhilarating and challenging. Challenging one to always remember the importance of the honor, and more importantly, of the critical mission of education. Thank you, Dr. Ogletree, for your wonderful invocation. To Becky Cook, Deanna Swinkie, Rick Berry, David Anthony. Superintendent Mark Henry, who couldn't be with us today, and Marnie, for your comments. I thank you all for your very kind words, as well as, shall we say, your good-hearted reflections. I look out and see so many of our family, friends of our children, my work colleagues of over 20 years, former board members, students I've worked with. It's an honor to be before you today. Thank you for your time and for sharing this occasion with me. Each of you here, as Rick Berry used to say, in case you think I'm not talking to you, I am. Each of you, in some unique and important way, has been a positive influence in my life. And of course, thank you to my family members. And I would like to take just a few moments to introduce a few of them to you. First, and most importantly, my wife, Sandy, and I'll ask you to stand. We practiced this, remember. First and most importantly, my wife, Sandy. Without whose support and strength, I would not have been able to do my job effectively. Thank you. And I will thank the students for, I don't know about thanking them, but she thanks the students for naming the school the Jaguars because it's given her unlimited license to purchase every animal-themed print and clothing item that she can. So she thanks you for that. Our son Brian and his lovely wife Shannon and 3 of our precious grandchildren, would you please stand? Braden, Bryn, and Bennett. How big? Our son Kevin and his lovely wife Casey. And our dear big grandson Philip, who is attending University of Texas. Love you. My brother Wayne. He's raising his hand. Wayne's my older brother, but more importantly, he always was and remains my big brother, my role model. And since our father passed away at an early age, he became and remains our family patriarch. Love you. My brother Mike couldn't be here today, and I love him so much, but because of health issues, he can't come today, but he remains top of mind for me, and we talk each day. Now, many of Wayne's and Mike's family members are here today, as are many of other family members, several of whom are from Lake Charles, Louisiana, and they're in the midst of recovering from the most devastating of hurricanes. And I appreciate your being here today. Would you all please stand? Come on. Okay, Nina told me I could take up to 10 minutes, so we're going to go for it. I would briefly like to reflect quickly on my Cypher years. This is about learning, right? This whole place is about learning. But it's what I learned. From our board members, past and present, I learned the importance of public service. All of you have served selflessly for the years for the benefit of children and of the community. And especially in these challenging times, your dedication and work has been exemplary. Thank you for what you've done. From the late and dear Superintendent Don Thornton, I learned the importance of preparation. From Rick Berry, Superintendent Rick Berry, I learned the importance of strength in challenging times and the importance of customer service. From Deanna Swinkie, I learned the importance of analysis, of clarity of thought, and of effective precision in communication. From George Hobson, I learned the importance of budget discipline and stewardship of tax dollars. From Dr. David Anthony, I learned the importance of unwavering commitment to excellence and perseverance. From Dr. Mark Henry, I learned the importance of listening and of community. From all my professional colleagues, many of you here today, I learned the critical importance of collaboration, mutual respect, and service. Thank you for letting me be part of your life's work. From my teammates, I learned to trust. Perhaps in spite of their recollection, I learned to trust. I learned I couldn't do it all. In fact, I couldn't do any of it without them. I just needed to work as hard as they worked and get out of their way. And so very importantly, from students, teachers, and principals, I learned the importance of the goal and of dedication to the task. A very difficult task it is. Students are indeed the future. They're our future. So how can we not maximize every opportunity and effort to ensure their success? In my Cypher life, there are many times of joy and success, stress and crisis, and of extreme growth. In technology, we built on the early and foundational work of Genevieve Bogart and Joan Postma. And we've seen the impressive extensions by teams led by Frankie Jackson, and especially now by Paula Ross and Becky Cook. In the transportation, maintenance, and operations areas, the district benefited so much from the focused and effective work of Tony Barcelona and his teams led by Rick Terrell, Tammy Blankenship, and Archie Hayes. At times, the challenge seemed so large, too large some days. But through the support of family, support of great leaders and teams, and the energy and motivation arising from helping children, thankfully we persisted and hopefully made a difference. And I will close with this story. It's relevant to me particularly that we're here at a middle school. You see, early in my life, in the first of my middle school years, the first year, a school transfer and a transition from an elementary school to a middle school to a much larger school brought on anxiety, and I just didn't want to go to school. So, seemingly alone with no friends in a huge new school, I was petrified. Now, can you imagine that, my being speechless? No. My parents, like all parents, were wise, and they let me try this out for a bit. You stay home, you stay home. But, and this is why I'm sharing this now, obviously in coordination with my parents, a school principal, and a teacher intervened. In a sense, they rescued me. They intervened, they persisted, and they insisted that I return to school. You get back to school. Everything's going to be okay. Thankfully, because of them, I did return to school, and my life changed forever. So, here I am, once again, in a middle school. A community of caring adults, and another life-changing situation for me. How fitting. It was Twain that said, "History doesn't repeat, but it often rhymes." How true. So, to all involved in this school, and indeed in any of our schools, thank you for your service. Staff, teachers, all of you, thank you. And please know that your actions each day and every day with every child are so critical to their lives. I thank you all for this incredible honor, and to all who have joined us today, thank you so much and stay safe. And with all attribution to Garrison Keeler, and not bragging, but we are in Rowe Middle School, where the teachers are strong, the principal and staff are hardworking, and all the students are above average. Thank you.
Now you see why I was in a rush to get him up here. So thank you so much again. That was amazing, Harold. And if you will join Ms. Carew and Mr. Ryan at the velvet draped surprise. You want to get where you can see? Yeah.
Thinking about
This is why Don and I are the B team. So. Yes. So, very good. Awesome. Abby, you got your picture? Perfect. All right, I'm going to turn it back over to Ms. Carew.
Before Stacia comes up, I'd like to direct your attention to the Jaguar. Sandy and I are donating this to the school. It is the mascot and beautifully rendered by a local artist, and we hope that you treasure it. Thank you.
I'm not going to talk long. I'm a pretty emotional person, so we're going to wrap this up. Yes, we are a perfect match. At this time, we already did that, sorry. I would like to thank everyone for coming out and celebrating this honor as we honor Harold Rowe today. Again, I will reiterate, it is always an honor to open a school, but when I found out it was Harold Rowe, it changed everything for me. So again, just a big congratulations and thank you for being the namesake of Harold Rowe Middle School. We are going to have tours available when we return back to the main campus of our building. So when you go in, we have a reception set up for you. My administrative team, they're all wearing badges that have tour guides on them. They'll be more than happy to tour you around our amazing facility that we have over there. So if you see one of them, you can grab them. But again, thank you for coming, and please join us for the reception back in the main building.